you guys, some of you have experienced Agatha all along.
Oh.
Some of you have experienced the Penguin. Would you ever think to compare the two? Well, this person did.
I would, but it's what to do and what not to do, not as
yeah.
equals.
It's crazy as well because the shows actually share a little bit of a, it's all about a spin-off. It is a spin-off of another thing about a villain that they're trying to give us more information on. You know what I mean? Like the connections actually.
That is where the similarities may end, I suspect.
No, of course. I just mean that it's almost like it's weird that they connect up on that level, but simultaneously are polar opposites of quality.
Yeah. No, so God. I watched probably the first 3 or 4 episodes of Agatha All Along and decided I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to give up half an hour of my life once a week. It could be better spent doing literally anything apart from watching this show. You missed a
banger episode where we find out he's Wanda's son that we knew all the whole damn time.
Oh my God, you're not serious, are you?
I know.
Wow.
But yeah, to compare it to the Penguin, especially episode 4, wow, that's a bold move. I genuinely have to say, because I watched episode 4 just before we started this because I'm kind of playing catch up, and that was some good shit right there. That was some excellent writing, some excellent performances. They really took what could have been like a fairly generic, strong female character antagonist and actually turned her into a really fucking interesting character that went through a great deal. And you 100% understand where she's coming from and what she's all about now. And that is some good stuff right there.
It recontextualizes a bunch of stuff in past episodes and even stuff from the movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but yeah, it's really good.
And I think the props to the actress, like she gives a superb performance throughout this episode. Like she has through the whole season, but this is where she's really tested, I suppose.
I get the impression this might actually make her give her some new opportunities where it may not, because like she's really put her ass into gear for like getting this to work. It seems anyway, from watching it. She portrays what you could say. Isn't this funny? I think she portrays completely different characters in pre and post Arkham. And she does an excellent job of it. The tiny details of how she operates, how she holds herself, how she'll respond to people. The amount of the way she even walks around, her body language changes completely after everything that's happened. And I was thinking to myself, like, she's done that well with the same person. Meanwhile, we had a Mad Stenberg playing 2 completely different characters with different backgrounds. You wouldn't fucking notice.
Yep.
This is what I wanted from Joker 2, by the way, as far as Arkham and breaking someone down is everything we got with her. And damn.
Because the scene where she's inducted into Arkham, I suppose, and like stripped of her clothes. You've got this really like unnerving sort of sinister music playing, and she gets put through the worst degradations you could imagine. And it's all just played really quick and matter of fact, but it's very brisk, and she's dehumanized in that moment. Like she's turned from a person in the outside world, a person who's wealthy and important and influential, to just a piece of meat essentially that they're processing.
You're crazy before you even get out of intake.
Yeah. And like you can 100% understand why this place, especially with what they do to her, it takes a sane person, turns them insane with what they put her through. And it's brilliantly conveyed. I think it's a great episode. And I think I really like her as a character.
I actually thought as well, because I was talking to Az about this, how when you recast Carmine Falcone, I was like, seems unnecessary since he's dead. Like, I don't know what we're doing with that. After this one scene with him and her, I was like, it was so fucking worth recasting.
Mark Strong should have been in the fucking original movie. Like, I
like John Turturro.
Well, I like John Turturro. I'm just saying, because John Turturro couldn't do this, like scheduling wise. So I'm glad they decided we need someone to do this, because they needed an actor for that scene, not just any actor. He fucking nailed it. And I had this brief moment of like, oh, I remember what it was like to have a villain that I was like, wow, he's kind of scary.
Oh, Mueller. He played it like John Turturro. Don't you hate when an actor, like with Altered Carbon, Anthony Mackie did not play Kovacs the way Joel Kinnaman did? It's supposed to be the same character. He played the way John Turturro did, with the little, differences in tone of voice and all that. He didn't just do his own version of Carmine. He did the Carmine that we saw in the movie, which I really appreciated. Made it line up more.
Because I assume it feels like we're doing a bit spoiler free here, sort of, are we? Or
yeah, I don't know, are we?
Yeah, I'll keep it spoiler light.
Because I think we all recommend it. I assume we do. I don't know.
Yes, but I do highly. Yes.
There's something she says to him in their conversation, and his reaction, he doesn't say anything. He just has a look at her and a movement toward her for a good 5-10 seconds. And I was so struck by it when I was watching it. I was like, "Fuck me."
Hair on my arms went up.
Well, I love a villain where it's like you feel like they could do anything at that moment. You don't know what they're going to do next, and that's such a great way of building the tension.
Well, and from the movies, we know that's 10 years into him controlling the Gotham Renewal Fund set up by the Waynes, who also were part with the Arkhams of building Arkham State. So the point is, he was 10 years into being mayor of everything. He controlled everything. And I like that they did get, I won't say the context, but Kinsey from the movie, the corrupt cop that works at the Iceberg Lounge, they get that actor to come back in a flashback. Yeah. So they're at least trying to connect it.
I'm really happy that we finally got some good TV to enjoy, and
please don't ruin it.
Yeah, great performances, great actors, really well written, well structured, well shot. The cinematography looks fantastic, and just great. Well done. I never expected anything like this from a Penguin spin-off.
Yeah,
never. But they've really impressed me, and I love what they've done with this.
And I see people saying it's inaccurate. This isn't it's an Elseworld story. It's a Batman, it's a Penguin, and they're pretty accurate to the overall comics, but it's not going to be, it's not going to have a shooting machine gun umbrella or anything. But I believe this is an Earth 1 Batman. It's very similar, where Alfred is actually the head of security for the Waynes and then fails and teaches Bruce. That's just straight out of Earth 1.
Is this true? Well, did IGN give it 5 out of 10?
Yes, they did, because they were tired.
Fucking seriously?
I mean, because as far as I'm aware as well, Sophia is from the comics, right? And they've really played around with how they're going to deal with it. She looks
very different in the comics, Smaller. Yeah, she got a glow up.
The version they're doing, as far as I'm aware, we made jokes about it, but I seriously think this is true. If Victor Fries were to enter this show, he would be a guy in a dark blue suit, and he would own freezing companies that do. That's it. That's as far as you'd go with references to the cold. They're probably not going to.
You didn't want to do Gentleman Ghost, the super fantastical. I bet you could do a freeze with a freeze gun, but it would have to be super realistic. Breaking people's arms off and stuff.
I think when you've set up this kind of world, this super grounded, quote unquote realistic world that they have here, there are certain characters that you can't incorporate into it. And I think Penguin kind of sits within its own cozy little self-contained universe where probably they're not going to sweat too much about the Batman, and they're not going to bring in all these other DC characters. It's going to be essentially an organized crime story. That's what we're going to have. He's going to be dealing with the Falcone family, and maybe over the next couple of seasons he's going to rise to power, and that'll be him becoming the real kingpin of Gotham. And that's fine. That's what we need from something like this, and that can sit within its own little self-contained universe. That's okay with me. You don't have to try and incorporate all these bizarre rogues gallery of villains. I think.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them get cranked up thanks to the fact that they're a part of a particular version of Batman that is more insane already. It's not like we've never had more grounded versions of each of these characters in some way, shape, or form. They're all on a scale.
Well.
It's just that,
you could do Hush and Firefly and some of the more grounded, you know what I'm saying? Just, if you did Clayface, it would be just his face that,
Look at Bullseye from the Ben Affleck Daredevil movies versus the Bullseye that we got in the Netflix Daredevil.
Colin Farrell.
They are such, Colin Farrell. Yeah, isn't that interesting? But there's worlds apart in terms of how flamboyant and over the top they are. But it shows I suppose sometimes the character can work if they're toned down to a degree that they fit within the rules of that universe.
I feel like Nolan's was the grounded and realistic. That's why he had bad knees and all that shit. This one is grounded, but it's still ever so slightly comic book worldy.
It's gritty. It's that word. Gritty.
They actually said it in the behind the scenes. They say grounded, gritty, and realistic. And
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, all I was going to say as well is like it seems to me that if there are inaccuracies, if they can pull it together really well in terms of the writing, I think it's probably going to balance out. As in, like, fans will put up with some inaccuracies for different interpretations. I mean, this applied to the Nolan ones, didn't it?
By the way, no spoilers. I know people that think Vic is going to turn. They think just from the comics that he'll turn into Victor Zsasz. I don't necessarily think that. I think he's going to be.
I've heard that as well, but I don't see any. I don't think there's anything to go by yet for why.
I think ultimately it's going to come down to Penguin is going to have to take care of him, proving again he's the big bad. But that's just my own suspicion.
And this is just this one. Most grounded thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is just speculation because we can do this because it's a show and it's good, so we can talk about it as fans, which is neat. I was going to say, like, it could be that the season ends with him he subverts and destroys Sophia and kills Vic. I think making him reprehensible, right? Like making him a character you're not going to like.
Because I think he's going to have to.
Bad thing. We like everyone. Sorry, Drinker.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to take out Sophia at some point, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's ways to kill her that make a lot of sense, but simultaneously, I think the work they've done will make us be like, oh, because of what she's been through, or whatever. Which again, is just like, well, that's just good work that they've done at that point.
I felt bad about Penguin killing Alberto after this episode, even though I loved it in the first episode. I was like, oh man.
No, I think
I mean, like
I've seen people say this about episode 4, but it's been one that's made people want to go back and check some other things out again, as in like watch the show over or watch the Batman again.
100%.
Yeah.
Apparently, in the end, Penguin's going to get killed, and he wasn't the Penguin after all.
Is he going to get aspirated by a bunch of prison guards?
They have a young CGI'd Danny DeVito get inspired by him.
Does he give an apology speech?
With him? He stabs him with an emperor penguin.
Yeah,
bro. Emotional damage now.
It'd be funny, like, as well, if he like kills him and then starts walking around like, like a penguin. There's a question here as well.
It wouldn't be that far-fetched from what we got.
Yeah.
The Joker.
Oh, someone asked a pretty fair question. Sorry, is it watchable without seeing the Batman? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, you can jump straight into this and you'll be all right.
Absolutely.